प्राणकर्माणि चापरे आत्मसंयम योगाग्नौ जुह्वति ज्ञानदीपिते. Now everybody together. सर्वानीन्द्रियकर्माणि प्राणकर्माणि चापरे आत्मसंयम योगाग्नौ जुह्वति ज्ञानदीपिते. Once more, we'll all repeat this verse together right now. Together. सर्वानीन्द्रियकर्माणि प्राणकर्माणि चापरे आत्मसंयम योगाग्नौ जुह्वति ज्ञानदीपिते. So anybody can recite this verse? सर्वानीन्द्रियकर्माणि प्राणकर्माणि चापरे आत्मसंयम योगाग्नौ जुह्वति ज्ञानदीपिते. Anyone else? You can try. सर्वानीन्द्रियकर्माणि प्राणकर्माणि चापरे आत्मसंयम योगाग्नौ जुह्वति ज्ञानदीपिते. Any Matajis? That's how we learn. सर्वानीन्द्रियकर्माणि प्राणकर्माणि चापरे आत्मसंयम योगाग्नौ जुह्वति ज्ञानदीपिते. Thank you. Anyone else? सर्वानीन्द्रियकर्माणि प्राणकर्माणि चापरे आत्मसंयम योगाग्नौ जुह्वति ज्ञानदीपिते. Thank you. Anyone else? सर्वानीन्द्रियकर्माणि प्राणकर्माणि चापरे आत्मसंयम योगाग्नौ जुह्वति ज्ञानदीपिते. Okay, you can repeat word for word meaning after me. Sarvani, of all. Indriya, the senses. Karmani, functions. Prana karmani, functions of the life breath. Cha, also. Apare, others. Atma samyama, of controlling the mind. Yoga, the linking process. Agnav, in the fire of. Juhvati, offer. Jnanadipite, because of the urge for self-realization. Translation. Others who are interested in achieving self-realization through control of the mind and senses offer the functions of all the senses and of the life breath as oblations into the fire of the controlled mind. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The yoga system conceived by Patanjali is referred to herein. In the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali, the soul is called Pratyak Atma and Parag Atma. As long as the soul is attached to sense enjoyment, it is called Parag Atma. But as soon as the same soul becomes detached from such sense enjoyment, it is called Pratyak Atma. the soul is subjected to the functions of 10 kinds of air at work within the body, and this is perceived through the breathing system. The Patanjali system of yoga instructs one on how to control the functions of the body's air in a technical manner so that ultimately all the functions of the air within become favorable for purifying the soul of material attachment. According to this yoga system, Pratyak Atma is the ultimate goal. This Pratyak Atma is withdrawn from activities in matter. The senses interact with the sense objects, like the ear for hearing, eyes for seeing, nose for smelling, tongue for tasting, and hand for touching, and all of them are thus engaged in activities outside the self. They are called the functions of the pranavayu. The apanavayu goes downwards, Vyanavayu acts to shrink and expand, Samanavayu adjusts equilibrium, Udanavayu goes upwards, and when one is enlightened, one engages all these in searching for self-realization. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadanti Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapatakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sakitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatirubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Chapter 4 titled Transcendental Knowledge, and the translation of this verse is: others who are interested in achieving self-realization through control of the mind and senses offer the functions of all the senses and of the life breath as oblations into the fire of the controlled mind. So this is a continuation of the verse that we read last week, which is verse 26. When we read the meaning, English translation, some, the unadulterated brahmacharis, sacrifice the hearing process and the senses in the fire of mental control, and others, the regulated householders, sacrifice the objects of the senses in the fire of the senses. So here in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is explaining that the yoga system of Patanjali is described here. And the 10 forms of air within the body is also described here, and the functions of 5 of the 10 forms of air is described by various names. Apanavayu, which goes downwards, Vyanavayu, that shrinks and expands, Samanavayu, that adjusts the equilibrium, Udanavayu, that goes upwards, and also another type which actually engages the senses in the sense objects as well. So these are all the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali on how to control the senses and the mind. So Prabhupada explains that this is a bona fide process of controlling the senses and mind using this Patanjali yoga system. But it is a mechanical system. It is a mechanical system where you will have to artificially control the mind. Though it is bona fide, it's very, very difficult to control the mind, as all of us know. It's not easy to control the mind. And also, even if we are able to control the mind is very susceptible to the attacks of sense objects at a later stage as well. So two problems we have in this yoga system. One, it is very difficult to control the mind. And the second one is, even if we control the mind for an extended period of time, we are vulnerable or susceptible to attacks from outside sense objects, and we lose what we gain. So we'll hear some of the pastimes that wonderfully explains how this happens and whether it's happened to anyone. And it's actually happened to a very great personality as well. Mind is very difficult to control, not just in this yoga system, but in any system that we follow. Mind is very, very difficult to control. So in the 34th verse of the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, so now we are in this 4.27. So as we go through the verses of Bhagavad Gita, when we get to the 6th chapter, 34th verse is one of the most famous verses in Bhagavad Gita. And this verse is by Arjun to Lord Krishna. And who's Arjun? Arjun is not a normal conditioned soul like us in this Kali Yuga. Arjun is the son of Lord Indra. Indra is the king of heaven. So Arjun is the son of king of heaven. And he lived in Dwapara Yuga. We are living in this Kali Yuga, which is the fourth age in the cyclic four ages of Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga and Kali Yuga. So progressively the ages are getting deteriorated, and we are at this worst age of Kali Yuga according to Srimad Bhagavatam, which is age of hypocrisy and quarrel, and it's ocean of false. So that's the age that we are in Kali Yuga. So here Arjun is from Dwapara Yuga. He's the son of king of the heaven, and he was the best friend of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. Verse about controlling the mind. Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramadi balavat dridam tasyaham nigraham manye vayoriva shud dushkratam. So here it is said, the mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate and very strong. O Lord Krishna, I think it is easier to control the raging wind than to control the mind. So this is coming from Arjun, who is the son of King of Heaven and the greatest friend of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Dwapara Yuga. He's saying, I cannot control my mind, and I think it is more difficult than controlling the wind. Now, how many of us can control the wind? So let's not look into mind. So let's look into what Arjun said, controlling the wind. We are not talking about a fan where we can control the speed or we can turn it here and there. We talk about raging wind like hurricane and tornado. Who can control hurricane and tornado? Now, United States is one of the most powerful countries in the world, and it's got one of the greatest armies and navies and air force. Now, when there is an enemy that is attacking the country to kill the people, the country, like United States or any other country, will have great defense mechanism to ward off the enemy or attack the enemy in turn. Now here, this hurricane and tornado are coming to the country to kill people in one way and to destroy the property. What can the government do? They can only announce, run and hide, go to a different state or go to the bunkers and hide. August 29th, 2005. Many of you may remember what happened on August 29, 2005 in New Orleans. Katrina, one of the greatest hurricanes that we can think of in recent history, attacked New Orleans. Nearly 2,000 people died and $81 billion damage. Not 81 million, $81 billion property damage. Now this is one of those hurricanes. The fastest speed of the wind that has been recorded is 450 kilometers an hour. Now, can somebody think of controlling the wind? 450 kilometers an hour. Or who was able to control when Katrina hit New Orleans, or many other tornadoes and hurricanes that hit the US coast or any other country as well, Caribbean countries as well? We cannot. So, wind cannot be controlled, but even Arjuna is saying, it looks like maybe I can even control the wind, but not the mind. So, it's very difficult to control the mind. And what does Lord Krishna say in the very next verse? So 6.34, Arjuna is saying, it looks like the mind is very difficult to control. It is very restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong. And in the very next verse, Lord Krishna says, O mighty armed Arjuna, the son of Kunti, yes, it is undoubtedly very difficult to control this restless mind. Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, yes, it is difficult to control this restless mind. But it is possible by Abhyasa and Vairagya. Abhyasa means practice, and Vairagya means detachment. So you practice. How do you practice, or what do you practice? You practice the 9 forms of devotional service of Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Mandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. So you practice hearing, chanting, remembering the Lord, offering worship to the lotus feet of the Lord, then performing arati, offering prayers, becoming the friend, becoming the servant of the Lord, and offering everything to the Lord. So these are the 9 forms of devotional service, and these are abhyasa, by practice, and vairagya is by detachment. What do you detach from what? You detach the senses from the sense object. So this is how we practice. So controlling the mind is very difficult. Definitely in this Patanjali system, as Prabhupada is mentioning, is very difficult to control the mind. But even if we control the mind, we are vulnerable to be attacked by the sense objects even after a long period of time. And in the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said that women are like fire and men are like butter pot. Women are like fire and men are like butter pot. So you should not associate with men or women without any reason. If there is any important business, we associate with them. It is a warning given to us by in Srimad Bhagavatam by Vyasadeva, because the senses are very susceptible to fall prey to the sense objects. And in the 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said one should not even stay in a secluded place with one's own mother, one's own sister, or one's own daughter. So this is a warning that is given. So we may think this is an extreme case, but it is a warning that is given in Srimad Bhagavatam, because the senses are always very susceptible to fall for sense objects. Now, in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Rupa Goswami, it is mentioned that one can control the senses if one is able to control the tongue. So tongue is the very difficult sense to control. If we can control the tongue, we will be able to control the other senses. So for this we have to go to Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. There is a wonderful verse. It goes like this. Ata Shri Krishna Namadi na bhavat grayam indriya sevan mukhe hi jivado swayam eva spuratyada. So here it is said, blunt material senses cannot appreciate Krishna's name, form, quality and pastimes. However, when the conditioned soul is awakened to Krishna consciousness by rendering service with his tongue, and what are the services that the tongue does? One is to chant the holy names of the Lord, and the second one is to honor the Lord's prasadam. The remnants of the food that is eaten by the Lord is called as prasadam, and that is the second function of the tongue. So when the tongue offers these two services, then automatically one is awakened to Krishna consciousness, as well as one is able to understand who the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, is. So the first function of the tongue is to chant the holy names of the Lord. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is there in the center of this wonderful picture here with this yellow dhoti, with his arms outstretched like this. He's Lord Krishna himself, who appeared 527 years ago in West Bengal. And he teaches us through the third verse of Sikshashtakam. Trinadapi sunichena tharoriva sahishnuna amanena manadena kirtaniya sadahari. So we talk about chanting, which is one of the functions of the tongue. And Lord Krishna, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, is instructing us, Kirtaniya Sadahari. Sada means all the time. Hari means name of the Lord. Kirtan means singing. So all the time chanting the names of the Lord. And in the very next verse, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, with my raised arms I declare, all of you please hear me. That's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says. This verse need to be put into the thread of the holy name and wear it in your neck for continued remembrance. So what is the meaning of this verse? Trinadapi sunichena taroriva shagishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. So Lord Krishna himself says this is such an important verse, he wants us to wear it as a necklace. This verse, to put it in the thread of the holy name and wear it as your necklace. So the meaning of this verse is, one has than a blade of grass. One has to be more tolerant than a tree. Offer all respects to others and expect none in return. So what does it mean? Tolerance is there and all of us stamp on top of this grass and go. We wear shoes or without shoes or with slippers. We trample on this grass and we walk. And what does the grass do? It does not protest. It goes down when it is trampled, and then a blade of grass. And more tolerant than tree. Tree is very, very tolerant. So when we go and pluck the fruit, when we cut the branches of the tree, even when the whole tree is cut, or just before the tree is cut, still when we try to cut the branches of the tree, it still gives the shade, wonderful shade. It gives wonderful leaves, it gives wonderful fruits. So many things that the tree is giving, is being more tolerant. All the rain is falling on that so hard, there's so hot sun on it, but still it gives us what we need, the flowers and the fruits and the leaves, because it's very, very tolerant. Even when it is cut, it does not protest when it is being dragged away to become a firewood. Even when it is becoming a firewood, it gives warmth and heat to others. So that is the tree's attributes, and one has to be more tolerant than the tree and more humble than a blade of grass, and offer all respects to others and expect none in return. So we should not be proud. Yes, I am such a rich person, I am such a great person, I am the owner of this company. Who are we? That is related to the body, which will die when the body dies. So Lord Krishna in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is instructing us that we should wear this verse, Trinadapi Sunichena verse, as it has to be worn on the thread of the holy name in the neck for continued remembrance. So Lord Krishna is saying, chant the holy name all the time, because that's one of the functions of the tongue. And it is also said in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Kapila Muni's mother Devahuti is praying to the Lord, who is Lord Krishna himself, Aho batasva pachato gariyan e jivagre vartate nama tubhyam tapaste juhu sasnurarya Brahma Nachur Nama Granantiyeta. Here it is said, how glorious are those whose tongue is always chanting the holy name of the Lord. Even if they are born in the family of dog eaters, they are worshipable. Because dog eaters are known as Chandalas. They are supposed to be the lowest of everyone. But even they, when they chant the holy name of the Lord, they are worshipable, because when one chants the holy name of the Lord, he has done all austerities, all tapas, all yajnas. He's gone to all the holy places. He's taken bath in all the holy rivers. He's read the Vedas. He's got the good manners of the Aryans. So that is one who is chanting the holy name of the Lord. Even though not always. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Kirtaniya Sadahari. But in this verse it is said, anyone who is chanting the holy name of the Lord. So it could be many of us who are chanting, or many of you who are chanting the holy names of the Lord in a humble state of mind, and we know this verse is the proof of reincarnation, because all of you chant the it need not be all the time, but you're chanting the holy names of the Lord. And for us to chant this holy name of the Lord, it is said, we should have got all the good manners of the Aryans. We should have taken bath in all the holy rivers of the whole universe. How many of you can say that you have taken bath in all the rivers of the universe? We cannot. That shows that we have done many of these austerities and many of these things that need to have been done. Those are prerequisites for us to chant. So this verse is instructing us that devotees who are chanting the names of the Lord have done all these things in the previous life or in the life before that. So that is the confidence that we get from this wonderful verse. So even if one is born in the family of dog eaters, if they're chanting the holy names of the Lord, that means they've done all these good things in the previous life or lives before that. And Haridas Thakur is referred to as Namacharya. Namacharya is an eternal associate of the Lord, and he's a combined incarnation of Brahma Mahatapa. He's one of the great sages, and he's also an incarnation of Lord Brahma as well as Prahlad Maharaj. So he's a combined incarnation of these three great personalities, and he chanted the names of the Lord 300,000 times a day, which comes to 174 rounds. So we have the Japamala, and in that we have 108 beats. So when we go from start to finish, as we do today and every day, when we chant 108 times the Hare Krishna Mahamantra that you see there, and you can see there are 16 words in total. So these 16 words of Hare Krishna Mahamantra are 16 names of the Lord. So 16 multiplied by 108 times, which we have in the beat 1 Japamala, makes it 1728 names of the Lord. So in about 6 to 7 minutes, we can chant 1728 names of the Lord. And for initiated devotees, we chant 16 rounds in the Japamala. So it is 16 names of the Lord when we chant 1 Hare Krishna Mahamantra, multiplied by 108 times in 1 Japamala, multiplied by 16 times of this 108. So 16 multiplied by 108 multiplied by 16 comes to 27,648 names. So in about 1.5 hours, we'll be able to chant so many names of the Lord very, very easily. So this is Kirtanya Sadahari. So we are follow the great acharyas. Mahajano ena gata sarpanta. But we cannot imitate them. So we cannot say, let me also try to chant 300,000 names of the Lord every day. We cannot. Because Haridas Thakur, as I mentioned, is a combined incarnation of these three great personalities, including Lord Brahma, who did 1,000 celestial years of penance.
Lord Brahma and
Brahma Mahatapa and Prahlad Maharaj.
Brahma Mahatapa means?
Brahma Mahatapa is one of the great sages. He's the son of Richika Muni. And once Richika Muni, the father of Brahma Mahatapa, said, go get Tulasi leaves. And when Brahma Mahatapa went to get Tulasi leaves, he did get the Tulasi leaves, but he did not wash the Tulasi leaves, and he gave it his father to offer to the lotus feet of the Lord. The father cursed the son, because you did not wash the Tulasi leaves, I curse you, in the next life you will be born as a Yavana. Yavana means in one way, in a Muslim family. So that is how Haridas Thakur incarnated as Haridas Thakur. He was born in a Yavana family or in a Muslim family. And he's also an incarnation of Lord Brahma, because in the Brahma Vimohana Leela, we understand right after that, it's a long pastime, I don't know whether we have time, but in summary, at the end of that pastime, Lord Brahma did not want to do the same mistake he did when Krishna was there, where he stole all the calves and the cowherd boys. He did not want to commit that offense again. So he said, when you incarnate again as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, let me be your eternal associate. Let me not be Lord Brahma, so that I am susceptible to making this mistake again. So let me be an eternal associate of you. So he incarnated as Lord Brahma as well. And another incarnation of, or the third personality in Haridas Thakur is Prahlad Maharaj. And you can see that based on the austerity that he did, it's got similarity to Prahlad Maharaj's austerity. So, and also, another way, the second function, so in this verse that we read, Ata Shri Krishna Namadi, so in that verse, the second function of the tongue. So what is the first function of the tongue? They put you to sleep, everybody's awake. So what is the first function of the tongue? To chant the holy name of the Lord. The second function of the tongue is to honor the prasada, remnants of the food that is offered to the Lord. So every time, or at home as well, and here at ISKCON Scarborough, we honor the prasadam after the program. So ISKCON Scarborough is fortunate in that way because we are able to give prasadam or distribute prasadam 14 times a month, which is really wonderful, especially when we don't even have a kitchen. So 14 times a month, at least for 50 devotees, we are able to distribute the prasadam. You're wondering how 14 times a month? Because we have 4 weeks in a month, and each week we are open 3 days, Friday, Saturday and Sunday, and we offer prasadam at least for 50 to 60 devotees every day when we have the program. So that is 12 days a month, which is 3 days a week, 12 days a month, and also we have 1 day of Mangalarati, where we distribute prasadam after the Mangalarati, and also we have 1 day where we do Abhishek on the Swati Nakshatra day. So that is another day. So that makes 14 days a month. So we offer prasadam, and we honor prasadam as well when we come to the temple. So second function of the tongue is to honor the prasadam. And whenever we honor the prasadam, just before we honor prasadam, we say the prayers. The first prayer that we say is from Mahabharata. What is the first prayer that we say? Now, Mahaprasade Govinde Nama Brahmani Vaishnave Swalpa Punyavatam Rajan Vishwaso Naiva Jayate. So here the meaning is, one who has very less pious credits will not have faith in Mahaprasad, in the name Govinda, Nama, in the holy name, and Vaishnava. So one with less pious credits will not have faith in Mahaprasad, in the name of Govinda, in the holy name of the Lord, as well as in Vaishnava. And in the second prayer that we say, Sarira Vidyajal, Jodendre Taikal, Jivepale Vishesagre, Tarmate Jivaiti, Lobomoy Sudormati, Take Jata Katina Samsare, Krishna Boradharmoy, Kharibara Jivajoy, Swaprasadana Dilobai, Seyanamrita Pao, Radha Krishna Ganagao, Premitako Si Chaitanya Nitai, Jainimai Jainitai. So here it is said, we mentioned this yesterday as well, but it is very relevant to today's verse. The material body is a network of ignorance, and out of that the senses is the worst enemy, because the senses throw the soul into this ocean of material enjoyment, and out of the senses the tongue is the worst enemy because it is very voracious and uncontrollable, and it is very difficult to control the tongue in this material world. However, Lord Krishna is so merciful that He's given us prasadam. So let us honor this prasadam to our full satisfaction by chanting the names of Radha and Krishna, and also in love glorifying Gaura Nitai. So those are the two functions of the tongue. One is to chant the holy names of the Lord. And how often we chant? Kirtaniya Sadahari, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said. And if we are chanting the holy names of the Lord, have we done any austerities? What is that verse? Aho batasva pachato garyam. Ye jivagre, jiva means tongue. So those who are chanting the holy names of the Lord must have done all austerities and sacrifice, read the Vedas. So all of us are fortunate in that way. We are chanting the holy names of the Lord, even though it is not Kirtaniya Sadahari, but we are chanting the holy names of the Lord. So that means we have done all these austerities and charities and fire sacrifice and read the Vedas at least in previous lifetimes, for us to have this prerequisite or qualifications for us to chant the holy name of the Lord. And we have to follow in the footsteps of Haridas Thakur, who chanted 300,000 names of the Lord. So we cannot imitate, we follow by doing what our spiritual master has given us, which is at least 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra every day. And for the devotees who are not yet initiated, to chant at least starting out with 1 round a day, which takes about 6 to 7 minutes. In our 24 hours, can we not dedicate 6 to 7 minutes to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who's given everything to us? So we always are in the mindset of getting something. We give something and we get something. But that is not this attitude in spiritual life, because in spiritual consciousness, we have to be thankful all the time for what we already have. We are able to breathe. A lot of people are struggling with lung problem in the hospital. We are able to see. Many people are blind. You know, it is said, I was scolding the Lord for I did not have new shoes until I saw a man with no legs. Right? So we complain that we don't have a shoe, but when we see the neighbor, that person does not even have a leg. Even if he has shoes, what is the point? He cannot even wear the shoes. So here we'll have to be thankful and grateful for whatever we already have in our life. That is how we chant, to serve the Lord, to make the Lord happy, to please the Lord. So that is why we serve, not to get anything in return. So in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it is also mentioned how to purify the senses. So we saw now how we can purify other senses by using the tongue to chant the holy name of the Lord, and when we honor the prasadam, the tongue will purify the other senses. But there is one way to purify all the senses at the same time, and it is mentioned in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Rupa Goswami. Sarvopadi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhaktir uchyate. So here it is said, Rishikesha, I think last week also we mentioned about this. Rishikesha means he's the master of senses. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada talked about Parag Atma and Pratyak Atma, if you remember. Parag Atma means is a soul that is attached to sense enjoyment, and Pratyak Atma means a soul that is detached from sense objects. This is similar to Godasa and Goswami. Dasa means servant, and Go means senses. So we cannot, if we are servant of the senses, it is like Paragatma, because we are attached to sense enjoyment. And Goswami means we master of the senses, which is Pratyagatma. And Rishikesha is the supreme master of all the senses, that is Lord Krishna here. So here in this verse it said, Sarvopadi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam Rishikena Rishikesha. Rishikesha means he is the master of senses. So here it is said bhakti or devotional service. So this is the definition. So many of you would have heard devotional service, bhakti. What is this? So here's the definition. Bhakti or devotional service means engaging all of one's senses in the service of the Lord. And when one engages all the senses in the service of the Lord, there are two byproducts. One, the material designation vanishes. And what are the material designation? I, me, myself, I am the owner of this company. Those are material designation. That will vanish because we get to know that we are not the body but we are the soul. And the second byproduct of serving the Lord with all our senses, that all the senses are purified. And last week we read the verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, how Ambarish Maharaj used all his senses in the service of the Lord. He uses eyes in seeing the Lord. He used his nose in smelling the smelling the tulasis and the flower that are offered to the lotus feet of the Lord. He used his tongue in chanting the holy name and in honoring the prasadam. He used his ears in hearing the Harikatha, glories of the Lord as well as the names of the Lord. He used the mind in always thinking of the Lord. He used his hands in cleaning the temple of the Lord. He used his legs in walking to the temple of the Lord. So he used all his senses in serving the lotus feet of the Lord, and that is Sarvopadi Vinirmukta. So you use everything for the service of the Lord and the senses get purified. All of us do this to some extent. Is that not right? We all see the deities when we come to the temple with our eyes. So we increase the duration of what we do. Instead of only just 10 minutes or 15 or half an hour during the Arati, we can always think of Lord's image, the deity form in our mind's eye. Most of the time we can do that. So we increase the duration of us thinking of the Lord. And now what is devotional service is mentioned, but what is pure devotional service? When we perform pure devotional service, we are not there yet because we are sadhakas, but pure devotional service, when we engage in the Lord's service, in pure devotional service, at that time, even the samskaras are no longer there. So this means when we have a disease, for example, we have jaundice, at that time we don't like to eat any sweet. And after 2-3 months, when there is a sweet, when we are cured, we like to eat the sweet. But here pure devotional service means we may not be attracted to sense objects at any given time because it's already burnt. All the seed of desire has already been burnt. So what is the definition of pure devotional service? One has to engage in transcendental loving service of the Lord with no desire for material profit or gain through fruitive activities or through philosophical speculation. So to render transcendental loving devotional service favorably. What does it mean by favorably? We can actually analyze each one of those lines, but we may not have that much time. So the verse is Anyabilasita Sunyam Jnana Karma Dhyanamatam Anukulena Krishnenu Silanam Bhaktir Uttama. Anukulena means favorably. Favorable means what the Lord wants, not what we want. We cannot do something thinking that the Lord will be pleased in what I do. I may think when I play a soccer game for 45 minutes, I'll be pleasing the Lord. But that's not it. It's not what we think we'll do to please the Lord. So how do we know what the Lord is pleased with? From Bhagavad Gita, from Srimad Bhagavatam. Lord Krishna says, Patram Pushpam Palam Toyam. So if you offer me leaf or water or fruit or flower, I will take it. And Lord Krishna says, Manmana Bhava Mat Bhakto. Always think of me, become my devotee, become my, offer obeisances. So we know what Krishna wants. So this is rendering service favorably. So Anukulena Krishnenu Silanam. Krishnenu Silanam means performing the activities not only when we are chanting or when we are cooking, but all other times as well, when we are working, for example. Because this is Uttama Bhakti. Even when we are working, we'll have to do it in such a way that we please the Lord. How can we do that? When we are working, we do not cheat our co-workers, we do not cheat our company, and we offer the fruits of the results to the Lord. So all the time thinking of the Lord is this verse, Anyabilasita. Anyabilasita, Sunyam means what? Sunyam, anybody knows? Sunyam means zero. Without, it's nothing. So Anyabilasita Sunyam means without any desire. That means the seed of the desire also being burned.
Excellent one. And he has written also, Jnana Karma Anavritam.
Jnana Karma Anavritam.
It means we should not be covered by Jnana Karma.
No Jnana, no Karma.
See, they should be, he should not be dominated by Jnana Karma. Rather, Jnana Karma should supplement his efforts of bhakti.
Right.
This is Anavritam means he should not be covered, but he should be supplemented.
So there is no duplicity. It's a wonderful slogan. Jnana Karma Dhyanavartam. So no duplicity. And the example that is given here is the gopis. Now the gopis did not stop doing all their activities. They were householders. They were doing all their household work. But whatever they did, they were just doing it to please the Lord. Yesterday Prabhu mentioned this wonderful pastime of how the gopis, once Krishna had this, headache in Dwaraka, and he said, this is a test actually. It's not a real headache. Krishna does not have headache, but it is a test to prove the greatness of the gopis. So Krishna was in Dwaraka, and then he had this headache, and then the word was spread everywhere. Krishna's got headache, and his headache will be cured only when a devotee gives the dust from their lotus feet, and Krishna takes that and puts it on his head. So the word spread everywhere, and everybody said, how can we do this? Because eternally we'll be suffering in hell if we take the dust from our lotus feet and give it to Krishna for Krishna to put on his head. I will be suffering eternally in hell, so I cannot do that. So everybody, including Narada Muni, they said, no, we cannot do that. How can we do this? He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then the word spread to Vrindavan, and the gopis, immediately as they said, what? Krishna's got a headache? And what is the medicine for it? It's like a Tylenol. So the Tylenol for Lord Krishna's headache is the dust from the devotees of the Lord. And immediately the gopis said, sure, Krishna's headache. Then they said, no, you'll be suffering eternally in hell if you take the dust from your lotus feet and give it to Lord. They said, it does not matter whether we suffer eternally in hell, but even if momentarily Krishna's headache can be cured, we don't mind going to the hell and get punished eternally. So immediately they took the dust from the lotus feet, gave it to. So that is the greatness of this gopi. So in this Jnana Karma Dhyanavartam, so we do perform the activities without any duplicity, without.
Gopis were very high. Actually, what we say, what you have been reading over here, rag, we see pranay, rag, etc. They are lower things. Gopi had got really that bhavna, that really bhav and bhav, anubhav. They have got real feeling of love for Krishna. And the highest was, you see, that Mahabhav, it is Aparadaji. So they have got very high level of, we should say, bhav and anubhav, real feeling of love for Krishna. So that is the principle.
Genuine feeling of love for Krishna without any duplicity. So that is this wonderful verse, Anya Bilasita Sunyam Jnana Karma Dhyanavartam Anukulena Krishnenu Seelanam Bhaktir Uttama. So this is the definition of pure devotional service or Uttama Bhakti. So today, if you're wondering what is this devotional service, what is the definition of devotional service, it's given in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And that is Sarvopadi Vinirmuktam, Tatparatvena Nirmalam, Rishikena Rishikesha, Sevanam Bhakti Ruchate. So offering all what we do to the service of the Lord, offering all our senses to the Lord, and there are two byproducts. One is our material designation vanish, and second is all our senses get purified. And what is pure devotional service? The definition is, or the verse is, Anya Bilasita Sunyam Jnana Karma Dhyanavartam Anukulena Krishnenu Seelanam Bhaktir Uttama. So one has to render transcendental loving devotional service to the Lord favorably and without desire for any material gain or profit through fruitive activities or philosophical speculation. This is Uttama Bhakti. So we're almost out of time. Maybe we will hear this wonderful pastimes of Vishwamitra and Shaubari Muni next week. And what we can do is, I'd also like to summarize the 25th, 26th, 27th and 28th verse of Bhagavad Gita that we've been reading last few weeks. At least I've been going through the last two verses. It's a little bit confusing as it seems, because how one is offering their mind and senses into the fire of sacrifice, what brahmachari is doing, what grahastha is doing. So I would like to put that in a form of a chart and leave it in front of you, and we can review that so that we easily understand these 4.25, 26, 27 and 28. This is based on the teaching of His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrita Maharaj. So he's given a wonderful way to easily visualize and understand these four verses. And of course we'll also hear the wonderful pastimes of Vishwamitra Muni as well as Saubari Muni, because all these verses are instructing on how different personalities control their minds and senses, and also how risky is this Patanjali Yoga Sutra, where even if you are able to control it for a short period of time, and the short period could be even 1,000 years in previous yugas, and even after 1,000 years, how these great personalities fall down or fell down. And that is the disadvantage of this. Though it is bona fide process, it's not the ultimate process. And Prabhupada and Lord Krishna in the later on verses, they say how Bhakti Yoga is the ultimate process for us to cleanse ourselves so that we don't have any more of the seed of material desire. It's totally burnt up, so that we are not getting attracted by sense objects even after many, many years. Hare Krishna. Are there any questions? We can take one or two questions before we are ready for the Arati. Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, if you can elaborate the difference between devotional service and pure devotional service.
Okay. So in these two verses that we read from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, so devotional service means engaging all one's senses. But it is not that pure yet, because pure devotional service means you are engaging all your senses in transcendental loving service of the Lord favorably. Favorably means what the Lord wants, not what we want. Here there is slight tinge of personal sense gratification that may be involved, but in pure devotional service, it's only for the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and with no desire absolutely for material gain or profit through fruitive activities or through philosophical speculation. So that's the key difference between these two. So there is absolutely no sense gratification for your own self in Uttama Bhakti or pure devotional service, but there may be in the beginning stages of devotional service, we may perform devotional service as we all do, but we also have personal sense enjoyment to different degrees in the core of our heart, which is ingrained, but it will gradually go as we reach this platform of Uttama Bhakti. So we are not there, we are all sadhakas, but then that platform can be reached by hearing and starting with this hearing and chanting. 9 process of devotional service. Any other question?
Again, Lord Krishna said, Patram, Pushpam, Phalam. At least there's some little condition for us to be there. But Chaitanya, there was no condition at all.
Right.
So if we can differentiate both.
Right. So in this age of Kali, So this is, as we heard some time back, this is the worst age of the 4 ages. So we have the Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga and Kali Yuga. So out of the 4 ages, in Satya Yuga, devotees used to meditate for 10,000s of years according to Prabhupada. In Treta Yuga, there used to be elaborate sacrifices. Aswamedha sacrifice, Gomedha sacrifice, Rajasurya sacrifice, all these sacrifices were there. And in the Dwapara Yuga, there was elaborate temple worship. And we're not talking about the normal worship that we see here. Elaborate temple worship. Great, grand temples were built. Wonderful sacrifices were being done. Wonderful chanting of the Vedic mantras by the Brahmins were there. So these were all in previous ages. But in this age of Kali, which is the age of quarrel and hypocrisy and this ocean of fault, Krishna is so merciful that he's appeared in this form of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So Krishna incarnated as Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and the difference is that Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pratayata Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurati Saram. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the most munificent incarnation of all. Munificent means there is no precondition, no prerequisite. You don't have to have initiation before you chant the holy name. No as you said, Manmana Bhava Mad Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskaru. Sarva Dharman Parityaja. Abandon all variety. Krishna is giving a lot of conditions, but the net result is the same. Krishna Prema is God. But he is the most munificent incarnation. Namo Mahavadanyaya. No precondition, nothing. Krishna's name or love of God is given so freely. All we have to have is faith and take that. Hare Krishna.
Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravari Chacharini Nirvisheta Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravari Chacharini Nirvisheta Samsara कल्याण गुणनवच वन्दे गुरु महाप्रभु परिक्रमात्रान् मनस्वसेना महाप्रभु Romanga Sutanga Bayo Vande Guru Saranagavinda Romanga Sutanga Bayo Vande Guru Saranagavinda Tirthahara Jananityanana Singaradan Mandira Marjanado Tirthahara Jananityanana Singaradan Mandira Marjanado Yukta Shabastam Sadanundutobi Vande Guru Saranagavinda Yukta Shabastam Sadhusidhasi Bhagavat Prasado Swadanda Devtan Maribhakta Sangha Sadhusidhasi Bhagavat Prasado Swadanda Devtan Maribhakta Sangha Krishnaiva Tepte Sajata Sadhuvido Vande Guru Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hello. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare महाराज